I think we kind of all know the statistic that 53% of white women voted for Donald Trump. And that's huge. Right. That's kind of shocking.
You know, and I often have this conversation with people. They say, well, what am I supposed to say? It's such a difficult conversation because I asked the question, on Labor Day, before the election, what was the conversation that you were having with your mom, your aunts, sisters, and others about the election? Mm-hmm. Because black women, regardless of whether we liked Hillary Clinton or not, whatever those issues may have been, we understood what we had to go and do. So on Labor Day, we were in the kitchen cooking, saying, you straight, right? You got your ID and everything that you need, you know? And if I have to have a conversation with my son, who, by the way, thinks that I'm the only thing between him and fun, but, you know, but that's another day.
He's 18.
A different panel. But anyway, if I have to have a conversation with him every time he leaves the house, that, listen, if you are approached by a police officer, keep your hands up, keep your head down, say yes, sir. If you're approached by another person in a community who may want to harm you, these are the things that you need to do as a survival method. Even if you are in the right, you still need to bow down in that moment so that you can come home alive. Mm-hmm. You damn sure can have a conversation with your mother about who she's gonna vote for.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So how do you, Linda, how do you have, I mean, this is an interesting subject to me because it does feel like a gap that we need to bridge. How do you talk to somebody, how do you make somebody see the privilege that they don't see?
I think oftentimes the privilege is of not having to even interact with anyone that is not like you. I mean, I've been to parts of the country in places like Nebraska and Idaho, and they literally will sit and have a conversation with me and say, I've never sat and spoken to a Muslim before. I've seen them, but I've never spoken to them before. And I think in this moment that we're in right now, we have to challenge each other and have these difficult conversations. People challenged us at the Women's March, and they said that, you know, I see a lot of tension on the Facebook page, and I told the lady from the New York Times, I said, this is not by accident, this is by design. The reason why we're in the situation that we are in is because we don't want to talk about race, we don't want to talk about class, we don't want to talk about exclusivity within the feminist movement, not looking at someone like me and saying, that doesn't look like a feminist to me. You know, that modest woman, that's not feminism. So I think we need to challenge each other and understanding that in this movement, we're not all going to agree. Mm-hmm. There are 340 million Americans and we have 340 million opinions about 340 million things. But as long as we can agree that we have a misogynist, sexist, Islamophobic, white supremacist regime in the White House, I think we can all work together.
Yeah. Yes.